Hi there, and welcome to this episode of Write With Me at IELTS Juice. This time, we have a report. Here's the rubric. The charts, as you can see, there are two line charts or line graphs, both are accurate, show the changes in ownership of electrical appliances, and that's the second chart below this, amount of time spent doing housework in households in one country. I don't seem to find any names, so it's a country, it doesn't matter, between 1920 and 2019. So the type of visual, as I always say, we need to find out the type of the visual we're dealing with. They are line graphs, and the years are from 1920 to 2019, which means basically I'll be using past simple for the majority of my sentences. So I'm going to borrow past simple, put it here as a reminder, and I'm going to say goodbye to all the other elements. Okay, now this is a much clearer set. Next, we want to say how we are going to organize this. We have an introduction, a conclusion, and a body paragraph, very classic. Usually I tell my students, this is a very good approach. For each visual, devote one paragraph. So in this case, you might want to consider two body paragraphs. The first one is going to be for the bigger actually line chart that is about the percentage of households with electrical appliances. And as you can see, there are three household appliances: washing machine, refrigerator, and vacuum cleaner. And I can talk about them. It's a very good paragraph because I get to compare all these elements inside this. And then I will devote another paragraph to the second one, the number of hours of housework, which we get a definition. Make sure you include that definition in this paragraph. IELTS doesn't get anything to us for free. This bit of footnote at the bottom is not for you to get more information so that you feel comfortable. The information is there for you to also reflect on your reports. Make sure the footnotes are reflected in your second body paragraph. So this one, the number of hours of household per week, is just one line, but you can break it down into different years, and you can basically talk about that here. It's just a simple method. And the line says hours per week. For example, it starts in 1920 with 50 hours a week. And maybe a clever idea would be to count the number of hours in a week. How many hours are in a day? 24. There are 7 days in a week. That means 168 hours in a week. And 50 hours of it, that is almost a third, was devoted to housework. It's crazy. It was a crazy number in 1920. But look at it in 2019. That is around 10%. You can see that's a huge difference. We are now at below 8% or so of the entire week is spent on housework. That's a huge improvement. Anyway, next thing, I'd like to write the first sentence. The first sentence is going to be the type of visual. And for simplicity, you can double it. You can write two sentences. one sentence about the first visual and the second sentence about the second visual. First visual talks about the percentages of 3 household appliances, namely washing machine, refrigerator, and vacuum cleaner, that were used from 1920 to 2019, which is 100 years. If you calculate correctly, it's not 99 years. It's exactly a century, 100 years. And you can also say that it's in 20-year intervals, 20-year gaps. One interesting point is that you can see, as for the time frame, both time frames match. I will get to that in a moment, but for now, the time frame, we talked about the type, we talked about what it shows, what they show, both of them, 2 sentences, and where is it located? In a country. We don't know which country. We don't care. It's not important. IELTS doesn't care. We don't care. We move on. We just call it a country. It's not an area. It's not a region. It's not an administrative area. It's a country. Then we get to the overview. I would like to say one sentence, and that is, as the trend for household appliances ownership increased, the number of hours people in that country spent on doing household chores decreased. That would be my overview. I have another overview that I will talk and write later here as the last sentence. So what I'm going to say, this one is going to be for the first visual, and this one is going to be for the second visual. Make sure you make enough comparisons here, because here we don't have many comparisons to make. You can say, and you can make 1960 as a turning point here, and you can compare before 1960 and after 1960 over here. Because before 1960, as you can see, we had a steady and kind of like significant drop in the past 40 years. So from 1920 to 1940, it went down from 50 to almost 35. Then from almost 35, it went down to almost 20. So 15 points reduction in each year. But from 1960 on, you can see that it basically decreased maybe just 10 hours a week. So it's not that significant. So before, significant change. After, not so significant. Remained relatively within the norm. Okay, that would give you the general trend. I also need to say that for your topic sentences, you can include that the majority of this visual was, the trend was upwards, and that can help you write a good topic sentence. Like for all 3 appliances here, the trend was upwards. And here you can say that the number of hours was downwards. Now, what are you going to write as an overview? You can say, except washing machine, in this 100-year period, the households in that country, 100% of them received, or all of them received, or had, or owned refrigerators and vacuum cleaners in their homes. That's also something significant. And the washing machine percentage is not that important. I'm just going to make it as an exception. Like, apart from that one, all the other households in that country had refrigerator and vacuum cleaner. That would be also a very good overview. That's about it. With a little bit of touch, if you want to play this a little more challenging for a higher score so that you are accepting more challenge, may I suggest that you put this, I'm going to put it here because it's going to be an important year. Make this a turning point. Make this paragraph before 1960 and this one after 1960. If you look at the charts, you will see why I'm choosing this year. For the first chart, before 1960, everything was on the rise, and you can compare them with each other, all the appliances. And you can see that we had a steep decline in the second chart. That's all before 1960. But after 1960, it was still increasing, but for washing machine, we had a little bit of dip. And then the others, specifically refrigerator, reached the plateau and remained that way. If you look at the second chart, again, the changes are not that significant. From 1960 on, we only had 10% reduction in the, not 10%, but 10 hours, almost 10 hours. We need to be very careful about our language. 10 hours reduction in the number of hours that we devoted, or that the people in that country devoted to doing household work. Before 1960, after 1960, two separate paragraphs, but you challenge and analyze both charts in this paragraph and both charts after 1960 in this paragraph. A little bit more challenging, but if you wish to get a higher score, that would be my suggestion, because you are now comparing the two diagrams with each other. All right, if you wish to see a sample on this, done and improved, you know where to click. If you wish to see other videos like this, where we analyze and plan for letters, essays, and reports, click over here. And remember, eat healthy,